Good afternoon, everybody. Well, morning. I'm not sure, actually. I'm Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of Washington, D.C., and today I'm joined by Brenda Donald, who is the director of the district's Department of Child and Family Services, Michelle Garcia, who is the director of the district's Office of Victim Services and Justice Grants, and also our commander from MPD, Chanel Dickerson, who is responsible for missing persons reports at MPD. I am also joined by members of the district community who's focused on missing and vulnerable children and how to aid children who have participated for the last 2 months in a working group on how Washington, D.C. can better respond to the needs of our children. And if they would please stand, I would like to acknowledge them. Please, working group members, please stand. So thank you very much. And we are here today to report out on our progress on 6 activities that we identified just a few weeks ago about how better to respond to missing persons reports, locate critically missing children and adults, and ensure that children and families have the services that they need to be safe at home or safe in an environment that's going to be protective and supportive. We have been talking over the last weeks about what the situation is in the District of Columbia and what it is not. We know that in Washington, D.C., we don't have a particular or unique problem when it comes to missing children, but we have made the very intentional decision to talk about it differently, to publicize it differently, and to address it differently. We are not experiencing an uptick in missing children in Washington. In fact, over the last year or so, we have seen the number of missing persons reports go down. But I think you know that we decided at the beginning of this year that we would publicize and ask for the public's assistance for all critical missing persons reports. And that includes children less than under the age of 15 and seniors over the age of 65. It is our belief that anytime a child is out of a safe situation, that they are vulnerable. They're vulnerable to all kinds of things out on the streets, including sex trafficking. We have no evidence at this juncture that any of our children were abducted or taken off of our streets, but they are vulnerable and they are in danger nonetheless. So far this year, 96% of missing person cases have been closed from 2012 to 2016. 99% of all missing persons cases in the district have been closed. But regardless of this number, we want to continue making progress, and we want to break the cycle of young people leaving their homes and focus on the issues that caused them to flee their homes in the first place. So we have identified, as I mentioned, 6 ways to help that process. And I just left a briefing from our working group where it was emphasized that we have a system in place now, protocols in place, where all government agencies, the police included, our nonprofit sector, are talking, working together, and following the same protocol. So part of what we outlined earlier in the year was that we would assign more officers to MPD, Youth and Family Services Division, and we have started to do that, which include sworn personnel and investigators. We pledge to have better coordination between government and nonprofit partners to evaluate why a young person is missing and what we find once we locate them. We are working on our strategies to increase grant funding for advocacy and community-based organizations who work with DC government. We have launched new PSAs, a new PSA campaign to promote the resources available to teens who need help. We have expanded our missing person person's webpage and social media messaging that not only asks for the public's help when we know we have a person who is missing, but also lets the public know when that person has been located. And we are creating a working group to analyze individual open cases, assess and analyze the trends, and manage the resources to better direct our investments and staffing and better bring visibility to the leadership of the district when we need to make any changes. You can view the working group's report at missing.dc.gov. And I really want to thank all of the people that you see here in our working group for really getting together on a pretty rigorous schedule. I think they met for 6 weeks every week for hours at a time to discuss what the issues are, where the gaps are in our system, and to harden our system so that no child falls through the cracks. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mayor, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Off topic, though.
Okay. And you are?
I'm Scott Taylor with ABC 7 News. We've been doing a series of smash and grab bait cars. I don't know if you've seen our stories or not. Do you think the district is doing enough to curtail smash and grabs across DC? So far, 3,800 across the city. Residents think the city isn't doing enough.
Well, certainly, we want to see crime go down in every category, Scott. And we know that we have property crimes that are too many in too many places. And so we are certainly relying on MPD and all the investigative tactics that they have to stop them.
Can you help toughen the laws? We caught 2 people breaking in within 15 minutes. They're back out on the street within hours.
Okay, I'm not really familiar with specific cases, so I will talk to the chief about any specifics that you can offer. Okay, any other questions? Mark?
So if we can go through the 6 initiatives, the updates, where you say you've increased the number to 15 detectives and officers dedicated. What was the number prior to you implementing the 6 initiatives?
Well, I think that we're working on increasing the number. So I don't know if we've gotten up to that number. I think that's a target number, and we will. Status complete is that we've probably identified the strategy. Am I misstating that? I'm going to turn to the commander.
Yes, we have completed that. We have 9 detectives assigned to the missing persons section and 7 officers for a total of 16.
Oh, we're hit.
11.
And then could you tell me what defines a juvenile? Is there an age break for juvenile?
A juvenile is defined for the missing person cases is under the age of 18.
And then what makes a missing juvenile a critical missing juvenile?
Under the age of 15, or it could be for any other circumstances where we deem that the juvenile could be in danger.
And then of the cases that have been resolved, does that mean, when you say a case has been resolved, does that mean that all of those missing teens or juveniles have returned home? Could it possibly mean that some have been found deceased? Or how do you define resolved?
All of them, for this particular case, all of them have been returned unharmed.
Commander Dickerson, do any of these numbers involve young people since you changed the method that you use for reporting?
I'm sorry, repeat that question, Sam.
Well, basically, at some point, you changed the method for reporting. You basically said anybody under 15, anybody over 65 is critically missing. There were a lot more names came out. There was a national attention. They thought there were kids missing in DC. You know, basically when you change the rules of who came out. So I'm asking, have the numbers changed since then? I'm just wondering if you said that the numbers had gone down somewhat, right?
So what we have done, Sam, let me be clear. We haven't changed the rules of how we categorize the reports. We've changed the way we publicize it to the public. So we've always counted those numbers in that way, but we've made the decision to publicize them so we can get kids home sooner. I think it's too early to say if we will see a decreased number of missing persons reports this year, but and I think it's too early to say if we will reunite kids with safe places sooner, but those are things that we're looking at. One, just I'm gonna give you an anecdotal piece of information that I heard from the working group earlier, that they're getting more calls. Our nonprofit partners are getting more calls, and that's a good thing. That means we've raised awareness. We put out numbers for young people to call. Young people themselves are seeing themselves on TV and saying, oh, here I am. I'm not missing, but this is where I am. So it's sometimes in police work, and not that I'm a police officer, but sometimes when we increase awareness, we see numbers go up. And that's a good thing. It says to folks that we're looking for you. So if you have a young person that you don't know where they are, tell us, because we want to help locate where that young person is. But when I heard our nonprofit partners saying they're getting more referrals from the government, they're getting more calls from the school, they're getting young people themselves come in for help. Those are the types of numbers that I'm going to ask my team to see if we can pull together so that we can monitor the effects of our PSAs and the effects of getting the critical missing information out. It should lead to more people asking for help.
So the numbers are going up, you think?
The request for information, and I will just, we have a number of where we are so far with the critical missing persons reports for the year. I think we're tracking either about even or a little bit less than where we were at this point last year. Yes.
Mayor Bowser, one of these initiatives.
You are.
Why these?
Who are you? I'm sorry.
Megan Clarity with WTO.
Okay, thanks, Megan.
Why these kids are going missing, why they're leaving home in the first place.
Yep.
And a lot of that ties back to domestic violence. Is there a part of this plan that addresses that follows up with these kids, that takes this a step further as far as addressing?
Absolutely. And another theme that came out of my briefing with the working group this morning was that we still have more to do around data collection and tracking. And so I'm going to ask Director Donald to address that.
Thanks for that question. I think one of the important recommendations coming out of the working group is that we will have a process where everybody comes together for every child who is missing and is returned. And as the mayor said, like 99% of the youth who are missing are found within a few days. And what we're creating a safe place to have the children to come and to do a triage and to do an assessment that determines why they ran. So some of it, of course, is talking with the kids, but it's really to do some screening, and that will help us to understand how many kids are leaving because of conflict in the home, or felt that they're pushed out of schools, or felt unsafe in their home environment, or sometimes they're running to something. And so that will be part of the process. The mayor has asked us to make sure that we are collecting that data, so we're creating the system so that we're going to do that, but it also will help us to know where to target the interventions.
Are you seeing any more trends? I know it's early, but are you seeing trends as to why majority of these kids are leaving, or are they all different reasons?
There are a lot of different reasons, but they do fall into some similar categories, right? And so it is about home conflict. It is about feeling unsafe. And so we want to make sure that we're responding to the right reasons, because the ultimate goal is to move further upstream, so we're doing more prevention and family intervention so that the kids don't run in the first place.
So Director Donald.
Yes. Yeah. So we're also proposing that we have a drop-in center, a 24-hour safe place, which we think is critically important. Right now, the police and some of our partners do an excellent job of identifying and finding the kids, right? But then if they are returned home, which I think was an earlier question, if whatever is going on at home hasn't been resolved, then that child is likely to run again. And so we're going to have a safe place that at this Sasha Bruce is going to expand its capacity so that every child who is returned by the police department or who turns themselves in then can go to the safe place, can get a shower, can get a meal, can meet with a staff who is going to counsel them, and then start this process of really finding out what is going on. The goal is, of course, to reunify with families if that's appropriate, but it's also where we're going to have our school partners to re-engage the kids in school, or perhaps our employment partners to help them with jobs. And so it really is I think the first time and maybe a model for the nation where we will have a systemic response where kids can come and not just only be safe, which of course is the critically most important thing initially, but then to establish that ongoing support system and to also work with their families. And part of this process also will be working with the families, because families suffer when their kids are missing. And we want to have a response that then immediately goes out to reach out to the families to help them work through this process, but also help them to get prepared for when their kids are returned. Our Department of Human Services Office of Youth Services will be operating this process, and they have specially trained staff under their program that works with families to address the family dynamics.
So, Director Owen, can I follow up on that? So it sounds like a lot of what you're talking about is captured in Initiative 4. Can you tell us when all of that will be in place? And can you tell us what happens now to these youth who are coming back? What kind of services are they getting now until you have this in place?
So getting this in place over this summer, we are moving rapidly to get the safe place in place, which we think we can do within the next 2 months, and to expand the staff that will be working with the families. So all of this is in pretty short order. And I want to emphasize this is the first phase of a lot of ongoing work, and that we know we need additional resources. We need our provider partners and our community-based organizations who are going to be part of this effort. So there'll be ongoing work in the fall, but we're going to stand this up this summer. What happens now is a response on a case-by-case basis. And so if the police find a child, if the child is involved with my agency, we have a response mechanism. If the child's involved with DYRS, the same thing. But initially, they're going to go to try to return the child back home. And it's on a case-by-case basis. Now, when we stand this up, it will be a more systemic response.
Yes.
Mayor, on this topic, real quick, I have 2 questions. How happy are you to be involved in what DC is doing when it comes to runaways? To be honest, across the nation, a lot of runaways are ignored. They don't get the coverage that you people are actually putting out to the media. How happy are you about that?
Happy.
Well, happy getting the word out.
Let me just say, what I would say is that I'm proud, and sometimes it is hard. And I'll tell you, this was not an easy few days in the life for the district government when everybody around the world is thinking that children are being snatched off our streets. Okay, and so it was incumbent upon all of us to explain why we changed and the reasons why we changed, and in fact to challenge other jurisdictions to follow our lead. It is true, we don't have a unique situation here. There are missing persons reports across our nation, and too frequently, especially when they involve youth of color, they don't get the same attention from the media. And so we have identified a problem, and I want to especially acknowledge our Commander Dickerson, who stuck her neck out, who had a new assignment and said, we should do this differently, and we're going to be able to galvanize the resources to be effective. Second question.
Yeah, this is off topic.
Okay.
Thanks for bearing with me. Do you think police officers on the street indeed should be issued tasers? Most large cities have them, some since the early 2000s. And if you do, if and when you issue tasers, are they going to be given to officers on the street or just sergeants?
Well, the police chief is planning a program to implement tasers now. I expect that we will have a pilot group of officials very soon that will be issued tasers, and we will come out and talk to you with Chief Newsham about that. We have recently had a deployment, as you know, of body cameras. We started that with a pilot group. We want to see how it was going to work. We also have a full study being done on the impact of body cameras cameras on policing, and I expect that we would similarly roll out a new tool for police officers in a controlled way.
Do you know why it's taken so long?
It hasn't. I've been the mayor for 2 years, and so I wouldn't say that's taken long. Yes, Aaron.
General question.
Okay.
I've noticed DC for a long time has put out the number of missing, and then number of critical missing, and then number of solved in the broad general juvenile category. Do we know how many critical missing kids are still unsolved at the moment?
I think we do. If you give me a moment, and the commander may be looking for this at the same time. Your question was how many critical missing for 2017?
Yeah, and on the handout it says 28 unsolved juveniles, but of those 28, how many are in the critical category?
I think the number is 19 for 2017.
Okay. And none of those, we believe, have been abducted.
We don't have any reason to think that.
And generally, along with one of the initiatives here, the public service campaign, is there any discussion about changing some of the terminology, or this idea of a critical missing person that's really just a designation by age? Is that the best term for it?
It's not necessarily. I think that you heard the commander say that another person in between those ages could be identified as critical missing if foul play is suspected.
In light of how much attention DC did get, will be there ongoing or any changes we can expect to the terminology or how this?
Let me ask Director Donald or Director Garcia to talk about the working group's discussion around communications and terms.
Okay. We're a great team. First, we actually relabeled our the working group and we call it Missing and Runaway Youth, right? To more appropriately characterize our kids who are missing. I think the working group focused on communications and outreach more from two points. One, in terms of prevention and really looking for signs and helping people who are touching our youth, either in schools or in programs, and parents to know what signs to look for if they think that a child may be in a vulnerable situation or may be likely to run. And there's a lot more that we need to learn about that. And then the other is in terms of our hotline and helpline, and we have plans to expand that so that it's more responsive locally and more tied into local providers.
Bruce drop-in center, what will that look like if a runaway youth goes there? Do they know that police are going to be notified that they're found, or will it be more of a anonymous situation?
Right. Well, kids who are found or returned in different ways, right? So the vast majority of them are identified and found by the police. And so this is a place for the police to be able to take them and, say, here's where you can be safe and here's kind of what's going to happen in the next couple of days. But also youth show up with our providers. We have community groups who are out looking for youth, and they identify them. And I think the outreach efforts are to encourage youth to come in. And so for us, it's in our discussions, it's not that they have to come in through a police door. It's they're on the streets, they're not at home, they're not safe. We want a safe place, and then we want to find out what's going on with you so that we can support the youth and hopefully get them back home.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.